I'm
Let's,
hitting go live.
all right.
All right. Hi, friends. It looks like we're live, but there's always a little bit of a delay. Oh, look at that. Came right up. Well, friends, hello and welcome to our second episode of Craft Hour Retailer Edition. I'm Leah Lawson from Pinkfresh Studio, and I'm excited to be sharing this episode today with Lesie Rodriguez, who is the owner of Cobblestone Creek Studio. Hi, Lesie.
Hello.
Well, we are going to chat with Lesie for about the first 10 minutes before we get going on creating a really pretty card together. We're going to let everybody find us, takes a minute to let everything settle in. We're going to wait for Heather, who will be moderating in the comments under the Pinkfresh Studio name. But first and foremost, Lesie, how about you tell us a little bit about Cobblestone and where you guys are located?
I would love to. So my store, Cobblestone Creek Studios, is located in Damascus. So for the sake of where we are in Oregon, we are just east of Portland. So everyone knows Portland, but we are right in the heart of the Pacific Northwest. We call it the upper left corner of the United States. And we are super excited. Our store will be turning 3. So we're still a very new store, turning 3 in May.
That is so cool. Um, that is actually pretty awesome because a lot of areas they are losing their crafting retailers. So it is awesome to hear that your store is not quite 3, so and doing well. That's so exciting. So Heather is in the comments. So we have our moderator in the sky, my partner in crime, Heather. That's exciting. And it looks like people are finding us. So it looks like we have a lot of friends in the comments here to join us. We've got Connie Long from Salem, Oregon. She says she loves you. So you did something really cool for our craft hour episode today in your shop. You created a kit that people could craft along with us. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? I thought that was
Yeah.
really cool.
I have to say I'm super thankful for your guys' guidance. You and Heather are so amazing and supportive for all of our customers here. And I know you guys have provided this for all the other stores. So I think that's really important to mention too, that the other stores that are participating in this are getting the same opportunities. You sent me instruction sheets. So I thought that was so awesome because what better way to celebrate your guys' brand new products and release with a craft along? And literally, I wanted my customers and my friends to be able to literally craft right along with us. And I know quite a few of them are. We put together quite a few kits. They've been picked up. I've shipped them across the United States as well. So people that have never been to my store are crafting with us hopefully today or on
That
replay.
is so cool.
So yeah, so they have a kit. So the kit came with the mountain stencil. So they are going to literally be able to stencil right along with us. But I also wanted to make not off put the price for people. So if they were a little hesitant, not quite yet ready to jump into the trees, which they will be after we make this card, because I know
And the
it.
sentiments.
Most have honestly picked them up separately, but the tree stencil and die was not included, but we did go ahead and pre-cut those for everyone. So they're going to get the little frame. We went ahead and pre-heat embossed and cut out all of their sentiments because, of course, you have to have a cute sentiment. Um,
Absolutely.
we also included some of these absolutely fabulous new embellishments that you guys just came out with because I knew that if I gave them just a little sprinkling, they would need an entire
They're
package.
going to need a whole
So
pack.
I mean, or a few. I will tell you, my lady shop in a couple at a time. So so yeah, they have a craft along kit. And we still
Well,
have a
I
few
think
left.
that is awesome. What a fun way. I think that is just genius. What a fun way to include your customers, make it a more interactive experience. I love that you have people that have never stepped foot in your shop doing this with us, whether you're crafting with us now or you're crafting with us on the replay. We're excited you're here and we hope that you guys enjoy creating this card with us. Um, there's a question for you in the comments.
Oh
Um,
gosh.
Hona asked, did your store open during the pandemic?
So, ironically, my store did not open during the pandemic, but something really amazing that connects me with Pinkfresh is that during the pandemic, not knowing it, I joined Pinkfresh as a sales rep. So, supporting all the other stores and supporting you guys. And I started with Pinkfresh as a sales rep 1 month
Yep,
before the pandemic.
gotcha.
So, not my store, but I will tell you the pandemic and supporting all my local retailers here pushed me to open my store because I wanted to be a part of the community.
That's really cool. Well, something that's really fun as well is Heather and I are actually teaching a virtual class for Cobblestone in coming up here really soon, actually.
Yes,
Do you want to go over a little bit of the details of that class?
I would love to. So, obviously, this was not planned out to have two
No,
classes right in
it
a
was
row.
not.
It just
This is just like perfect
literally,
timing.
it was for sure. And Heather was supposed to just be teaching the class all by herself. And she kind of hesitated for a second. And I said, well, tell me, because I can tell you're trying to not say anything. And she said, well, Leah and I are actually going to be together at the time we want to do the class. So do you think it would be okay with you if we both taught a card? And I was like, absolutely. Who's ever going to say no to that? So Heather and Leah are going to be teaching, gosh, 2 weeks from now on the 8th.
It's 2 weeks from now.
From
Yes,
today,
literally
yes.
2 weeks from now.
Featuring another brand new product suite. And these kits, we put together, again, another kit for you guys. And I will tell you, I can't take the credit. Heather and Leah did all the work. I literally just tucked them into the little plastic pouches. So, but the kits include, again, perfect instructions, colored instructions, step by step, and the product suite. So the Always Smiling bundle is included, and of course some other extra goodies, but we're going to be making 2 cards. So this one, we'll start with things how Leah's on camera. This is the first card that we're going to be doing, and you hot foiled all of these
I
for my
hot foiled
lady.
every single panel. Well, actually,
You
that's not
did.
true. Heather and I split
Well,
it. I did
that's
half, Heather
true.
did half.
So I guess I can take a little bit credit. I did go ahead because I wanted to make sure everyone, in case they got the kits late, I went ahead and pre-heat embossed all of their second panels.
Oh
So
my goodness, look
they
at
are
you.
literally ready to go because I was so afraid people would get them late. So it's going to be November 8th, and we're in the Pacific Standard Time, so 5 to 7 p.m. on
Yep.
November 8th. We're going to be making some cards.
Gonna
Well,
be
I'm
super
not. I'm
exciting.
going to be watching.
Are there kits still left for people to join?
There are. There
Okay.
are, and you can order them online or come into the
Perfect.
store.
Awesome. So Heather will be at my house in Minneapolis. So we will be teaching together from my craft room. So it's going to be a super fun time. Lesie, we have just a couple minutes before we need to get our cameras flipped around
Yeah.
and start creating our card. So I wanted to thank you for being a retailer of Pinkfresh Studio and supporting us and selling all of our products. We are so, we're thrilled to have you and so appreciative of all of our retailers out there. So thank you for having the faith in me to join me for this show today. We're going to have fun. We have a pretty ambitious card to do together.
We do, but it's gorgeous.
Perfect. Thank you. So I am going to let you have a minute to flip your camera to your
Yeah.
desktop space. So I'm going to go ahead and spotlight myself for a moment and give you that time to do that. All right. So while I'm watching Lesie get her camera flipped around, I'm just going to chat with you in the comments. I see a lot of you here supporting Lesie and her store, and that is so awesome. We're so thankful that you guys are here watching today's live. And for those of you that are going to craft along with us, go ahead, grab your kit, and let's get going. I see Lesie has her desktop all set up, so I'm going to remove my pin, and I'm going to get my desktop up. All right, there we go. So this is the beautiful card we are creating together today. Lesie aptly named this Mountain Sunset, right?
Yes.
Yes. And that was perfect. That was like a perfect name. So, we did pre-do some stuff, just for the sake of time. That's just a little bit of die cutting. We did the sentiment and all of that, but we will do the bulk of the ink blending with you live today. So we're going to start out by ink blending the 6-piece Mountains stencil set. First, that's going to be the first thing. We have a ton of ink colors to feature here. Lots of stuff, but it's going to be super fun. I just got to prep my desk and get it all ready. Okay. Linda commented on my little dog walking around in the background. That is my 19-year-old Cocker Spaniel. She is a little pacey right now. She's not wanting to rest. So she's just kind of tapping all around. So they got to see her a little bit in the background.
She's adorable.
Thank you. All right. So starting with stencil 1, I like to tape everything down to my surface. That's just kind of the way that I do things. You know what though? I do need to be able to see, just thinking about that, I need to be able to see the edges of my cardstock. So let's rethink how I tape that. There we go. That makes more sense. So if you are new to our stencils at all, they are numbered. I'm trying to find some glare here. They are numbered in the upper left corner. Now for stencils like this, it is in your best interest to go in exact order because these don't coordinate with a stamp or anything. So we are literally ink blending the entire scene. And then there are alignment guides in every single corner of the stencil. Those align perfectly with an A2 sized cardstock panel. So I'm just taking the time to get those nice and aligned, and then I'm going to tape it into place. And we will start our ink blending. Lesie, it looks like your camera angle flipped. Could you fix that really quickly?
Yes, I had a phone call come through, so I apologize,
Thank
even
you
though it's
so much. No problem at all. Things like that happen in lives.
okay.
All
There we go.
right. So we got a ton of inks that we're using today. So for stencil number 1, however, I didn't want to ink blend in the little clouds. So I'm just going to go ahead and mask them off really quickly. And then we are going to start with soft lilac. And soft lilac is for the mountains. Is everything okay over there?
I just keep getting the same phone call. I apologize. I'm
Oh,
trying
no,
to.
no worries. No worries.
I don't know why it keeps coming through. It's on a do not disturb. So,
No
because
worries.
it's life.
It's life. It's live. It's what happens when you're live. All right.
Yes.
So I am going to start ink blending the mountains. Look, I have a brand new, not used before 1-inch brush that I am breaking in for this class. I think when I made your card, I did not have my full set of brushes in yet. So I was still like just using and cleaning the couple of sets I had on hand, but I have since received my full shipment.
Right.
So I am starting, stencil number 1 is the first little layer of those top mountains, which I'm blending in soft lilac. You are following along exactly with me for today's card, right?
I am. However, I have made a couple, well, I should say a couple. I've finished one other one that is in other colors. So, but
Oh,
today,
perfect.
today we're going to follow along.
Very nice. And then, you'll notice on my card that I lost, hold on, gotta make sure. Oh, there it went. That I did like a little bit of the sunset feel in that little stream. So the
Yeah.
way that I did that is I started with that soft lilac and I blended it just into the top portion of the stream, just to start. And then I came in with waterfall. And I'm doing everything pretty lightly here and just added a layer of waterfall into that. You can kind of bring your soft lilac brush back and blend over top to kind of soften out that line there. And then finally, I came in with Sapphire, which is a pretty deep shade of blue. And I put the Sapphire pretty lightly just at the very bottom to kind of darken that water and give it the look of like the sun's going down. So you've got the pretty colors from the sunset, and then your water's just a little darker at the base. And I think that turned out so fun. How are you doing over there, Leslie?
Doing good. I have to say, I actually absolutely love that you did the three colors. I think it shows off your guys' inks so incredibly well, how well they blend together. So
Thank
I
you.
love that.
I am so thrilled about these blending brushes. In case you all didn't know, I have a little fun fact about our large blending brushes. I believe we went through about 5 different test runs, trial runs, trying to find the very, very best large blending brush for our inks. And so we're so thrilled with how these turned out. All right, I am ready to move on to stencil number 2. How about you?
I am right behind you.
Perfect. So image doesn't look like much yet. It's going to start building up as we go, stencil by stencil. So moving on to stencil number 2, I am first using those alignment guides in the corners, but then I know that I am sure I made some human error here and there lining it up. So then I just kind of take a look at the image and make sure that there's no big gaps. So if I have to make a couple of adjustments here and there just for my own, human placement error, because we're not perfect, I just take that into consideration and I make sure that I do that. So stencil number 2 is only hydrangea. So we've only got the one color on there. I do feel like I saw in the comments earlier, Leslie, I believe you had a customer come in who had never been to your shop, and she grabbed one of these kits and it was rushing home
Yes.
to craft along with us. And I'm pretty sure I saw her up in the comments earlier. So that's really, really cool.
Yes. And I think that the friend of hers who told her about my store is actually in the comments as well. So they should both be
That's
crafting
so
along.
cool. All right, so you'll notice I did switch color families here. I really love how hydrangea, which is in our newer shade of pinks, and that color family is Napa Valley, but I love how it pairs with soft lilac and the candy violet from our original shade of purples. So I did make that change. However, you could always grab lavender, which is the second shade in the original purples, if you don't happen to have hydrangea on hand. All righty. And for reference, I am just kind of gently buffing my stencils a little clean with a dry cloth. I will clean them more extensively later on after the live is over, but I want to make sure that I don't get ink all over my fingers. And I am ready whenever you are for the stencil reveal.
All right. Are we ready?
Right.
See, and I'm not as good about cleaning my stencils right away, so
Okay.
I'll clean mine later.
Exactly. We all do things our own way. And that's like the best thing about crafting, right? Look at that. Our mountains are coming
Absolutely.
up.
All right. Let's see.
All right. Beautiful. Okay. Let's grab stencil 3. Now, stencil 3 is the rest of those first set of mountains, but it's also kind of like the grass or the ground. So we have a couple of things to do, and I'm going to do a little bit of masking to make sure I don't get purple into green. But first, I'm just aligning those, and I'm just making sure I don't have any weird gaps in my mountains, which I think we're good. All right, so for stencil number 3, gotta we are using Candy Violet and Evergreen. I am going to start with Candy Violet, but I am going to take some tape. I'm going to mask off. I think I would be okay, but just in case I get a little wily with my ink blending, I'm going to do a little masking to make sure I don't.
Just in case.
Exactly. Right, I'm going to go ahead and start blending in the final layer of the first set of mountains. Now,
Oops.
Lesie, while we're
Oops, hold
blending,
on. I put it on the wrong side.
no,
I masked off my mountains. Whoops. Okay, let's try this again.
okay. All right, while you're
There we
fixing
go.
your mask
There we
and
go.
when you start to go ink blending, tell me a little bit about why you chose the mountains and the trees product suite for today's craft hour.
Well, the personal reason that I chose it is here in the Pacific Northwest, we are just surrounded by evergreens all year round. And one of the things that I love so much about this set is a lot of times evergreen trees or mountains, they end up being snowy mountains or they end up
Mhm.
being Christmas trees. And this set is so perfect for I mean, just anyone that loves the outdoors. It's great if you want to do a masculine card. And I think it's honestly very inclusive to all crafters because who doesn't love a serene mountain view?
Absolutely. I agree with you. I am a mountain girl. I'm from Montana. I'm moving home next year. Probably one of the most things that I'm excited about, apart from being close to my family again, is being surrounded by mountains again. So
Right.
I am so excited. And I have the same exact feelings about you that you do about this set as well. So I was really thrilled when we were emailing back and forth and you said that this is what you wanted to feature because it is such a good set. All right. I am going to go and start that bottom layer, the ground, which I'm blending with evergreen. And I am going to blend a little deeper at the edges and then just gradiate a little softer as it goes in towards that stream, just to give the image a little bit of added depth and interest. Yes, Liz, it is Heather who is behind the Pinkfresh Studio name today, moderating for us. Yes, and I agree. There are a lot of people commenting that this can, well, I chose, it's not really, it's definitely more of a feminine color palette, but this is a set that is really great if you want to create some fun masculine cards. I picture like blues and greens and oranges and maybe even some yellows in there would be perfect
Well, and I
for
love
that.
that you could easily throw in a little bit of some glitter stencil paste and immediately turn it into a winter scene. So it
Exactly. You
can,
totally could. That would be so pretty.
I
All
haven't done
right.
it yet, but it's on the list of things to do.
Same. I actually have like a really magical winter scene that I want to create with this set. I just have not had a minute yet to do it. So y'all stay tuned. All right. Goodness, tossing my brushes around. All right. Let me know when you're ready to move on to the next stencil.
I am ready.
All righty. Oh, look at that. It is coming along.
I think that's what's one of the things that I love so much about your guys' stencil sets is that it's like slowly revealing a little bit at a time, each layer.
I know. And it just gets better and better. Like every single time it's like, ooh, ooh, that's so cool. All right. Moving on to stencil 4. This is our sun and our second layer of mountains. And I am using Marigold and Sunkissed for this. I'm going to grab my one of my smaller brushes to put the marigold into the sun because I'm going to start with marigold in the sun, but then I'm going to add some orange into it too to give it that like starting to set sunset. So starting with marigold in there. like that. And I'm gonna come in with Sunkist and just add a little bit of Sunkist to it to make it feel a little more orangey and a little more warm.
What an absolutely perfect name for for this ink.
Chasing Sunsets, I know. Sunkist, and then the color family name is Chasing Sunset. I just love it. And then I'm going to bring one of the big brushes in to get going on that first layer of mountains. These big brushes, there's a lot of people chatting about how much they're loving the big brushes in the comments. And these are right now, I think, a little revolutionary for me. They're making these, stencil sets that have so many different stencil layers in it. They're making me a bit quicker, which I'm actually kind of thrilled about.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So I am going to warn everybody right now that I see my husband is coming home. And so we might have a little bit of a dog ruckus here in a moment. I do apologize if that happens. But I just want to prepare everybody because my in-laws dog, he's the cutest little Yorkie, but he wants to be known when someone comes home.
Right.
So might have a tiny bit of a ruckus on our hands here momentarily. And you let me know, Lesie, when you are ready to move on to the next.
I am ready.
Perfect.
I am going
Thanks
to
to
try
everybody. I
and
see some people have just joined or have joined a little bit late. That is totally fine. We're happy you're here. And of course, the replay will be available to watch right after I end this live stream. So if you want to head back to the beginning and catch up on what you missed, you certainly can do that. I'm getting some camaraderie in the comments about the dog ruckus. So I am in good company.
Yes. You are.
All right. So stencil number 5, we're almost done with the mountain scene, friends. Stencil number 5 is just one color. It's just finishing up those, the second layer of those mountains. And I just went the one color up to Mimosa. And it's just a nice little bit of a deeper tone than Sunkist to really make that second layer of those mountains pop. Oh, there we go. My husband is great though, and he will do his best to calm the barking down. Oh, there it is. I lost my dry cloth for a minute. All right, are you ready to
I am.
go move on to the very last stencil?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, the last stencil for this, we have a little bit more to do. All right, so stencil number 6 are some birds, which we're going to ignore unless you don't want to. If you want to add the birds in, please feel free.
For goodness sakes, I apologize. Another phone call. Obviously, I didn't do a great job at hitting.
No worries at all. Crafting live, it happens. You're a business owner. You got things.
Got things going on.
Things going on. And for this final one, I am using begonia to finish off our beautiful sunset mountain scene here. And I'm just going to ignore the birds up in the top. Now, they do look really pretty ink blended in licorice if you want to add the birds to it. I'm going to stick with my original card and just leave them off. Sometimes I like the birds, sometimes I just don't want the birds there.
Well, and I think that's why I ended up making that second option, was because I wanted to make sure I got to include the birds on at least one sample.
Yes, and look at that. That's a beautiful masculine themed card. That's a great example, Lesie. It's beautiful.
I kind of felt bad just omitting them on.
Did you feel bad leaving off the birds?
I did.
Then there's me. I'm like, sometimes I don't want birds. It's fine.
Right?
All right. So we have our final element here. However, we aren't fully done blending this yet because we got to add the sunset into the sky. So we need to bring, I want to make sure I grab I need my mimosa one back and maybe a little sun-kissed. Okay, so this is where it might get a little bit tedious because I am going to mask off the mountains with some low-tack tape. This might be overkill, but it's how I wanted to do it. I wanted to make sure I didn't go crazy blending into those mountains with the colors that maybe don't go together.
And I think I'm going to go rogue. I told you I wasn't going to, but I did
Yeah.
not mask them off the first time, so I'm going to attempt it again.
Do it. Let's see how it goes. Maybe
We'll
it's possible I am being overcautious. Like, let's be real. That is always a possibility. So let's see how it goes.
You never know.
You never know. Exactly. Okay.
Well, you may continue to mask off after you see mine.
All right. So I'm coming in first things first. I am just going to put any leftover ink that was on my orange. I just added it, but I need a little more. I don't want to go all the way up to mimosa. So I'm going to grab Sunkissed to just add a little bit more. I'm kind of looking at my card to see how deep did I do this? Here's a great thing. When you remake a card, it never looks exactly the same as the first. The beauty of handmade, right?
Absolutely. And I love the fact that you can make the same card twice. You and I are literally following the same color scheme and it just looks completely different.
Right. All right. So then I'm just taking begonia. I used the leftover, but I need a little bit more to really get the begonia in there. So I am just lightly adding. Great. Here's the thing. If you get too much ink, you can't take it away. But if you lightly add it, you can always add more. All right.
I think it's easy to be very light-handed with these new brushes. That's the one
I
thing that
think
I
you are
have
right. All right.
found.
You did rogue. I'm going to go ahead and start peeling off my little masking to see how it went. You know what? And I have a little bit where the tape kind of went over. So I'm just going to throw some orange in there and I think we'll be good.
It's a sun ray.
Exactly. And look at our fun sunset image here. And I just love how they turned out. Oh.
Love it.
All right, we are not quite done ink blending yet, though. We got a little bit more to do.
We
We have
do.
to blend some trees. So I'm breaking out my greens. I am putting away my other brushes. So let's go ahead. Let's set aside our mountain scene. Grab another A2 size panel of white cardstock and let's get our trees blended. Oh, thanks, friends. I'm so glad you guys are loving the colors of our fun little sunset scene. I think it turned out super cute.
I think so. I really asked Leah to use some, I said, surprise me, but these are my favorite colors of your inks. And I think you did amazing at picking out the
Thank
colors.
you. I appreciate that. Okay, I need to set aside my mountain stencils and I need to grab a tree stencil. There we go. So the trees are a 3-piece stencil set. Now, typically when we're using our stencils, as in like we did with the mountain, as you reveal each stencil, the image gets more magical. But the difference with these new stencil and die combos is technically the magic comes when you die cut. So when we're blending our trees, they're going to be cute. They're just going to kind of look almost like little evergreen tree blobs to begin with. And then the magic comes when you die cut them with that fancy one-piece die. So same as before, same as the mountain stencils, pardon me, we're going to use the alignment guides to align these together and ink blend them. So I just did the entire, each stencil in the same color, apart from the one that has the little tree trunks. Now, technically this right here is a flower, but I am not using the flower on my card today, so I'm just really not worried about it. If you want to turn your card in, or if you want to use the flower, you can certainly mask that off and blend it in a more flowery color, say like begonia or oranges or something along those lines. All right, I don't have the right brush. Here we go. Okay, this is my sage brush. I am, that's kind of funny. That's my sage brush. I'm just going to ink blend this first layer in with our sage, which is our lightest shade from our Green Gables set. Now you'll notice there's these little triangles that I'm also blending in. Those are to help us align that one-piece die, because a lot of the die is solid, and that's what's going to give us the added detail into our images. So we definitely want to make sure that we blend those little triangles in. They're not a part of anything. They're not going to cut out. They're not anything you'll use other than to help you align that die, which is really important.
And I will say, Leah, that this has probably, for my customers, this style of a product suite has become one of their most favorites, doing
Oh, that's
just the stenciling
awesome.
and the die cutting. It's
I love to hear that.
absolutely genius.
So we just started this concept this year, and we've released a few sets, I think 4 or 5-ish, and they definitely have been bestsellers, and we hear a lot about how much people are loving the concept. So I love to hear that. Thank you. And you know, I think we're going to continue bringing these out. So I think your customers are going to be pleasantly surprised.
Well, I know that they have sold out within a week of bringing them in almost every single
Oh,
time. So I
wow.
think that
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 is
tells
awesome.
you exactly exactly how they feel. They are loving them.
That is so cool. Let me know when you are ready to move on to stencil 2.
One last little mountain
Totally
here.
fine.
Mine are going to be a little bit lighter because I think I need
That's
to
okay.
re-ink my ink pad. So,
Apparently you use a lot of sage.
yes, I do.
All right. So there is the start of our trees. All right, go ahead, grab stencil number 2 and line it up. Kind of the same as before. I'm starting with the alignment guides in the corner first, but then just making a couple of adjustments based on my own, human error when it comes to aligning things. The cool thing about this concept is that each stencil section actually ink blends a little outside of the lines of the die, so that if you have a little bit of, alignment, like if it didn't align exactly perfectly, that's okay. We have allotted for a little bit of that type of error, and it still is going to cut perfectly and not have all of the, any of the white border showing. So I love that part about these stencils. I think that's such a cool aspect. And it's something that we did have to, kind of test and work through and try to find the best option for making it easy to align like that. And that's where those little triangles come into play. So for stencil number 2, I am using eucalyptus, just the next step up in that Green Gables product suite, pardon me. Oh, thanks, friends. Lots of people commenting about how much they love our ink color. We appreciate hearing that. They do come in color families of 4 from light to dark, which is always nice. It makes layering and all of that effortless and easy. Probably one of my favorite things about our inks.
Absolutely. I know people are always asking about stenciling and how do you get started? And I tell them, well, you guys have made it pretty simple. You've got the color layers already in the inks. You know, the stencils are so easy to use. So you've kind of done all the work for them.
Okay, so there is stencil number 2. Got our cute little multicolored trees coming right together. All right, we have one stencil layer left. And this one's going to be a little mix of greens and browns because we've got some tree trunks. All right. Let's see. It's aligned a little bit better. There we go. I am going to take some of the bits that I masked with the sunset with, and I'm going to mask off the tree trunks so that I can do those here in a minute. Maybe to be a little thinner in espresso. Next, I'm going to finish up the trees in spruce tips. So the only color in this color family we didn't use is Lush Forest. It's the darkest tone in this color family. You could totally add it as an accent here and there if you wanted. It is such a pretty color, but it is pretty dark. So if you're wanting to have a little bit of a lighter tone, I do like the sage eucalyptus spruce tips combo. Okay, gonna do a little clean. I'm gonna remove my masks and finish up. Oh, you know what? Goodness, I almost forgot the hill. Don't want to forget the little hill. I think I used that, so maybe I didn't. Oh well, we're gonna blend it real quick just in case.
Well, either way, we'll both
I
have
think
it.
I ended up only using 2, but I'm not sure which one it is. So we're gonna blend it real quick just to be on the safe side.
We can use it
All
for
right,
the next card.
now let's move on to the tree trunks. All right, for that, I'm gonna grab a small brush, and then I don't have to do any masking. And we will just get in there with some espresso to create our nice tree trunks. And I am not worried about these 2 little elements here because I am not using them. So if you get a little brown on them, it's okay. All right. And look at that. That was some blending, friend. But in the end, it's beautiful. Okay. Are
Oh
you
my
ready
goodness.
to, are
I'm
you ready to
gonna,
die cut?
I am, but I forgot one whole. Let me do one more trunk. I took off the masking and I forgot one. My goodness.
Oh,
One whole tree will be minus a trunk, but not for long.
that's really funny. All
Okay.
right. I'm just going to kind of organize here for a minute and get some stuff set to the side.
Okay.
This can all be tossed here. Right. Probably use some of this tape for die cutting. I guess we really only have to die cut the trees because we kind of pre-did everything else, didn't we?
Correct.
Yes, we did. All right, and let me know when you're ready to proceed with die cutting.
I am ready. Have my
Perfect.
tree die.
Same here. I just got to get my cutting plates. All right, so I am cutting on a die cut machine that I am pretty sure is on its last leg here. So I am going to showcase bubble mailer technique, which is where you add a little bit of pressure by cutting your sandwich into a bubble mailer. And we have had really good results with that, cutting more intricate dies. So I am using those triangles to line this die up because as you can see, a lot of it is solid. So by using those triangles to line it up, it helps make sure that the die is in the correct place. And I'm going to tape it down pretty well. I don't want it to shift on me as it runs through my die cut machine. That should be good. All right, I'm going to run it through my machine and I will be right back. Erica Johnson is asking me, what type of cardstock are you using? And I am using the 100-pound smooth cover cardstock from Hammerville. See if I can get the tape off here. My goodness. There we go. And look at that. So they cut out perfectly. And you'll see, do you see where it has that little bit of overlap so that you don't, if you get a little bit out of alignment, you don't have the any little white space on the out. Now, if you did cut it and there was a little bit of white space, you could always come in with a blending brush and just blend it out. Not a big deal, but we do try to do what we can to help that not happen. How you doing over there, Lesie?
Good.
Good.
Taking all my trees out.
All right, and I'm not going to remove these because I'm not using them. So I'm just going to go ahead and not be a hoarder, and I'm just going to toss them. All right. So we are basically to assembly mode here. And Lesie and I gotta find my things. We pre-cut a couple of things. So we pre-cut our frame, which is from our Blanket Stitched Octagons. So we pre-cut our frame from some ivory glitter cardstock. And then we also heat embossed and die cut our sentiment as well. The sentiment is from our Here For You sentiment product suite, which offers a stamp, a die, and a press plate set if you want to foil or letterpress. And we went ahead and heat embossed our sentiments in gold and got them pre-cut and ready to assemble. So first things first, we just need to adhere down that mountain background to an A2 sized, oh, I almost did it upside down, to an A2 sized card base. Mine is from white cardstock. I did my top folding. You can do your card base however you prefer. That just happens to be my preference. And I'm going to glue it down with liquid glue. I like that it gives me a little bit of time to wiggle it into place, but you can use whatever adhesive is your favorite, if it's tape runner or anything of the sort. All right. And get that aligned with the corners of the card. There we go. People are loving the bubble mailer technique for cutting out intricate dies. Definitely a fun one. All right. So then, before we adhere the frame, the way that I did it on the original card is I placed the little hills, and I think I used the two larger hills and I omitted that smaller one. So we are not going to use the smaller hill, but I placed the hills kind of at the base of the card base. I think I did this the right way. Overlapping a little bit. But I'm only going to stick them down to the frame. So I'm going to remove the release paper just on the bottom of the frame. because we're going to trim away the little bit of excess. I don't want the hills to stick out of the frame. You could absolutely keep them and just trim the excess. I'm making this a little bit more complicated than it needs to be. So you could absolutely trim a little more excess for just from the card base. I am going to do it like this. And then just grab those pieces with that exposed foam tape that I added. So now we have our little hills just at the bottom of the frame. And we can trim these away. And then they won't show. I wanted the little hills only peeking through the mountain, or excuse me, through the frame, not the mountain. They may look a little different than my original card, but that's okay. They still look like cute little hills. Are you doing okay over there?
Got it. Right with you.
Perfect. All right, I'm gonna clean up some little pieces here. And you can actually go ahead and actually, now that we have the little hills adhered, you can remove the release tape and glue, or excuse me, adhere your frame down with the foam tape as well. Now, if you want your card to be a little less dimensional, that is perfectly okay. You can go ahead and do this part without the foam tape. You can just glue it down directly to your card base, and that will make it a little bit more post office friendly. And that is absolutely okay. Oh, thanks, friends. I'm glad you're enjoying the colors. Now, since I basically covered up all of that foam tape with those hills, I'm just going to add a little bit of liquid glue to them to help glue down the bottom. There it is, lost my pin. And look at that beautiful scene. It almost is like you're looking at a sunset mountainscape through an ivory glitter window. Like, isn't that so pretty?
The best view ever.
Right, I agree. Michael Rutledge is saying those remind me of Arizona mountains. You know what, Michael? I grew up in Arizona for my childhood, so maybe I was a little inspired by that because you're right. They do look a little bit like Arizona mountains. All right, I'm going to add my sentiment first. So the way that I did my sentiment is I heat embossed the sentiment in gold and cut it out, but I also cut an extra layer from that ivory glitter cardstock. And we're just going to adhere those together a little off center just to give it some added dimension, a little added shimmer. It's just a really fun way to add a little bit of something extra to your card. And it's an easy way to do when you have the coordinating die. Okay, and there we go. Left the pin out a little too long. It's got a little clogged underneath. Okay. So I should have brought my cute little Pinkfresh Studio tweezers with me, but I think I did not. So I'm gonna have to just hold this here in place for a minute to get it to adhere down to the glitter cardstock. Always takes a minute to let glue set up on glitter cardstock. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pop that up with some thin foam strips. Okay, here they are. Once again, you could always just glue this directly down. And I arranged my sentiment just up here in the mountains. And I am adding the sentiment first because it gives me an idea of where I can put my trees. when all is said and done. Okay. So for the trees, the way that I worked those is I just added a little tiny piece of foam tape. I only used 3 trees. Which ones did I use? This guy, this guy. So the guy that doesn't have a tree trunk didn't make the cut.
Poor little
Poor
tree.
tree. And so I just put little small pieces of foam tape at the very top, the tippy top of these trees, and then added liquid glue to the base, so the trunk area. And that just gave the trees a little bit of added dimension. But the whole tree didn't have to be popped up. So this guy goes approximately here. And this sentiment, so we picked the just saying hello. I thought it was a fun sentiment for the trees. The here for you sentiments, if I can find them, here they are. This is a 9-piece set. You have 9 really beautiful sentiments included on it. And I really think any of these sentiments would look beautiful in that same position on the mountain. So you can totally adapt this card, if you have the sentiment set, of course, to any of these sentiments. So keep that in mind. Okay, that release paper is being a tiny bit stubborn, but there we go. So when I was placing the trees, when I was making this card initially, I really didn't want to cover up that beautiful stream. So I was finding like the best places I could put them so that they wouldn't cover up the ink blending on the stream, because I just love how much that ink blending turned out. It's just dreamy.
It is. It's gorgeous.
Thank you. All right, and then there's taking those little like grass tufts and just kind of tucking them here and there.
I think mine did not make it to my work table.
Oh, that's okay. You can leave that guy off.
Oh, I found them. Here they
Okay,
are. Phew. Oh my goodness. I just realized that. I'm like, I'm missing the grass.
good. All right. So all we got left is some embellishing, friends. Thanks, guys. I'm glad you were enjoying card today. It is kind of dreamy. I love it. All right, we are featuring the brand new iridescent dewdrop from Pinkfresh as our embellishments today. And let's see, where did I do this? All right, so we kind of did a little trio up in the corner of the sentiment here. And then just a little duo. And then some in the water. I figured since the dewdrops are iridescent and kind of clear, it was okay to put them in the water. Not covering up
Absolutely.
too much of that dreamy water. And then just a little set over here. Glue those in place, and our card is complete. Oh, my glue is giving me fits here. Come on, friend. Apparently it's been a long week for my glue bottle. There we go. So when you glue down these iridescent dewdrops, when the glue is still wet underneath it, it does make those dewdrops look a little cloudy. But never fear, once your glue dries and is clear again, they're gonna have that iridescent-y, shimmery, clear finish back to them. So never fear when you're gluing them down. I'm always like, it's always kind of a sad face, like, oh, the detail's gone, but it will come back. And there we have it. That is our mountain sunset card, friends. And Lesie, I'm going to say, considering we got that card done in 50 minutes, I am proud of
Woo.
us.
Well, we both were a little
A little
concerned.
hot and sweaty from ink blending, but it's fine.
Yes.
But
But
look at
I
how
mean,
those turned out.
it is stunning. Absolutely. I mean, we worked hard today.
We did work hard. We deserve a treat.
Oh, yes. I think our ink colors might have been telling us one of those treats. A mimosa sounds
Absolutely.
amazing.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
Right?
Now I want a mimosa.
Right? Oh
And
my
look at
goodness.
how even though we did all of the same things, just the difference between the two of us, they look totally different from one another.
Absolutely. They do. They look, I mean, I cannot say it enough. It's
All
stunning. It's
right.
absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you. I'm going to pin myself and you can go ahead and get your camera switched back to you.
Okay.
All right. Well, ooh, there we go. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm going to let Lesie get back to front facing and then I'm going to bring her back in. I'm just waiting for her to give me the thumbs up.
There we
And
go.
there she is. Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us for our second episode of Craft Hour Retailer Edition. We're so happy that so many of you are joining us. And thank you to Lesie from goodness, Leah, Cobblestone Creek Studios. That was a mouthful for, I guess, our card workout
Right.
for joining us. Now, Leslie's shop is located in Damascus, Oregon. So maybe we're hoping that you maybe have found a new retailer that's close to you or along your travels. Don't forget to stop in her shop and take a peek if you happen to be in her area. Well, Lesie, tell me, what do you think? How do you think? Did you have fun?
I had a great time. I'm so
Awesome.
appreciative. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Any final words about Cobblestone Creek before we let everybody go for the day?
Just a huge thank you to Pinkfresh. Pinkfresh Studios has been so supportive since I've opened up my store. So I just want to give you guys a huge shout out. I'm always bragging about you guys, but I never get to do it on your platform. So
Well, thank
definitely
you.
a huge thank you to your guys' entire team.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you as well for carrying our products, being a partner. We couldn't do it without you. So, friends, if you want to join Heather and I for a virtual class with Cobblestone Creek Studios, head over to Leslie's website. I think there are still some kits left. We are going to be teaching a class in 2 weeks. So 2 Fridays from now, we've got a fun virtual class. So we hope that you will join us in that. All right, that is everything we have for you. We're going to let you go for the day. So I hope you all have a great Friday and a great weekend, and we will see you next time. Bye.